So we're going from thinking now to playing the game. Okay, good job. A lot of golf, but especially short game, think of it more like an artist with a brush.
Yeah.
A paintbrush is like, we're not like this, right? Soft. There's a softness about it.
Another day on this journey of scratch to scratch, where I start from scratch, completely nothing, to try to become a scratch golfer by every means possible. If you are new here, you know I've been grinding day and night on the range and all these other places, but obviously the main point of this is to score. And so we are back in LA with Rick in order to go on the golf course and translate that swing that we're trying to perfect out on the golf course to actually score. And so with that, let's get into it.
So now we're on the golf course, things change a little bit. I want us to become more target oriented.
Yep.
I want us to have a clear picture out here. We want to be external focused.
Yeah.
We're hitting driver. We have a short par 5. We look at the variables, right? Not much wind going on. It's a beautiful day weather-wise. It's a little bit on the narrower side.
Yeah.
But now, are you going to play a cut? Are you going to play a certain shot? What's the intention of your shot right now?
So right now, I'm just trying to hit it straight.
Okay, trying to hit it straight. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to hit it straight.
So the intention is I'm going to hit a straight ball. Where's it going to start?
Right at that red pin is where I'm going to play.
Okay, so we have a very clear start line, and it's going to stay on that line, correct? Yeah. Awesome. So that's the intention of that.
Yeah.
Now we're trying to process all this information that has gone through your head.
Yeah.
How do you shrink that down to either a thought or a feel to help you commit to the shot? Okay? Now, we've talked visualization and practice swing and breathing. These are things we could do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do all of those, but I need you to be ready and confident on this shot.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's go pre-shot routine, commit to that shot. Okay? So as we watch it, kind of similar to what you told me about, right?
Yeah.
That ball is going to fade off of that point. So we know that the path is out to in. So we know the path's going this way, club face is open to that path.
Yeah.
Okay? With the amount of curve that we saw there.
Yeah.
Now, we'll talk about the technical side in a moment. We want to mix in the mental side. I asked you to have an intention. I asked you to be confident. Were you committed to that shot? Did you feel all systems go, ready to go?
I think I was committed to it. The back thought was all my shots were doing that previously, and so I was kind of a little scared that I would just do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of scared, anxiety, worry about what could happen.
Yeah.
You have the past results of have been hitting the cuts.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. But my question for you in the future when you go play golf is you have an option. I could play the cut.
Yeah.
I could have you tee it up over here, aim more left, play the cut, and not be as worried. Like if it happens, you have now extra yardage to work with, right? You have extra space to work with.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you could say, no, Rick, I'm out here to practice. I want to work on the right thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine too, but just realize that if I have that little scariness part there, you have other options.
Yeah.
Strategy-wise. For the viewers out there, we could hit a 3-wood instead. If we're playing one ball only, playing with your buddies, you don't always have to hit driver, do you?
Yeah.
Now, I want to push you to hit as many drivers as possible right now because I need you to get comfortable with this club.
Yeah.
Okay? So, do you have another ball on you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I want full routine still. Now, again, I'm going to just say that I believe you should be teeing up over here.
Okay.
Okay?
So
And then it opens up, you can aim more left,
I see.
angles-wise.
Okay.
Okay? So, if you teed up here, okay, and you're going to hit a cut, you don't have much wiggle room, do you? Okay, you'd be on this tree line here. Now we move you over here, and you can still hit it straight, but instead of the red flag, I would move your target to the edge of the bunker.
Okay.
Hit it straight to there.
Yeah.
But if it does cut, you have another 20 yards to work with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay. So I'm very much into, yes, we have an intention of hitting it straight. We also have to be aware of our patterns and play the pattern sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay? So now let's again look at ball flight. The ball started left.
Yeah.
Didn't fade back as much.
Yeah.
So we still know the path was out to in.
Yeah.
Club face wasn't open this time, was it?
Yeah.
So it's more of a pull. Okay? Were you committed to the shot?
Yeah, I was more committed than that one.
Great.
Yeah.
So we have a mental process scorecard that says I was more committed. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Mechanically, if there's no trees there, but it was solid, but it obviously wasn't cutting like the first one did.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a different club face as it went through impact on that one.
Yeah.
All right, Jerome. So we had one that bounced out of the trees a little bit, came in here to the fairway.
Yeah.
Right. I told you it was a short par 5, and it is. Okay. We're roughly 205. We have some uphill. So here you have a decision to make.
Yeah.
And multiple decisions. One, do I go for it? It's a par 5. Do I lay up? If I do lay up, what's the distance?
Yeah.
So this is what I love about golf. There's variables, which we're going to get into in a moment. There's a lot of decisions to be made. Okay. As your skills get higher and higher and you improve, you certainly have more tools in your toolbox to be able to utilize it. Okay. Right now, I want you to learn about situational awareness.
Yep.
What about this situation do I have to be aware of? So if we looked at this second shot on a par 5, we went over this one of the first times we came out on the golf course. What's important for you right now in order to make a decision?
The slope, the lie.
Perfect. So let's go with that first. So I want you to stand over that. And remember, the lie is neither good or bad. It is what it is.
Yeah.
How is the ball and the stance going to affect ball flight is a much better question to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have limited course knowledge up to this point and experience. How would you read that right now?
This is kind of like sloping down this way.
Yeah.
And so I'd probably like have it a little behind my stance so that I could get it to it a little more. And then that's kind of how I would play it initially.
Okay. And I would say that there's this, but there's also this. There's ball below your feet.
Yeah.
Too. So I understand this feel here, but that ball is definitely a couple to inches below you. What would that do to ball flight? Do you know?
Would it go right?
Tendency would be to the right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to go low right. It's hard to get a full follow through.
Yeah.
And so we tend to kind of block it out that way a little bit.
Okay.
So we can play for that, which I would encourage you instead of trying to compensate for that.
Okay.
So I liked where you said ball a little more back because I think it's easier to get to. From an alignment standpoint now, what's a good target line for you based on those things? Now, key question is, you need to know distance. You need to know what club am I using?
Yeah.
The longer the club, the more that ball's probably going to cut.
Okay.
If you laid up with a 7-iron, ball's probably not going to move as much as if you try to go for it with a 3-wood.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're out here having fun experiencing. What shot are you going to play right now?
I'm going to hit a 5-iron left of the green. I think I could carry 210 with it. So
Okay.
that's what I'm going to do.
So your goal is that the 5-iron would get to the green?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually understand this way. When I'm like above the ball, does my stance or anything kind of change a little bit?
Yeah, we made the one adjustment with ball a little bit more back because I think that's important because we can't transfer weight the same way off a slope.
Yeah.
We have to get to that ball that's below us.
Yeah.
We can either add knee flex, which I usually prefer.
Yep.
We can bend from the hip sockets more, or a combination of the two.
Okay.
The more that I add knee flex, though, I get down to it, I can't move quite as quickly with the hips. It kind of locks me in a little bit more here.
Yeah.
If I just go here, I sometimes get on my toes, and now I'm losing balance that way.
Okay.
This is about balance, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep that balance. I might have to do a little bit of both to center myself and ground myself.
Be a little more athletic that way.
Yeah, and that's why the practice swing is important, though. Let's see where the club gets to its low point. Let's see how much knee flex we need. That's part of the rehearsal part of this. Okay, just observe it. Okay, committed to the shot?
Yeah, I was committed.
Okay, great. Now that we hit the shot, this is how I do playing lessons, right? You've now hit it. Would you do anything different with the decision now that you've seen what the ball flight does?
Decision-wise, I would have aimed a little more to the left.
A little more left.
A little more left.
Okay, but again, you haven't played enough with the ball below your feet of how much that's going to move with a 5-iron.
Yeah.
Okay, you hit it fairly solid. It was okay,
Yeah.
but it moved a ton, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, you're still fine, but now it's like, well, next time I'd play it more left.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else with decision as far as club choice?
Club choice, I don't think so. I think I may have been able to still get there if I didn't chunk it. But
Okay, so we hit it a touch fat. Okay,
Yeah.
so 5-iron is still the play.
Yeah.
We're going to aim more left, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's part of when we're out here on the course and we get to practice late in the evening and there's nobody on the course.
Yeah.
Put that second ball down and look at the decisions first,
Okay.
then execution second.
Now we're kind of in the rough, and this is actually like the main question I wanted to ask you, because I know we've done chipping and stuff like that. And so I guess where's that threshold when it becomes a chip and then a real shot is the thing. Right now it's like, this is like 40 yards, 38 yards. And I'm always in between, like, do I ship this, but like I do it full strength, or do I kind of just do a mini real shot, but I can't get full shoulder turn? Or,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of answering it with that last thing. I can't get a full shoulder turn. I can't do this. I can't do that. You're going to start realizing how much width of stance you're going to need, how much turn, how much arms are going to be needed for different shots.
Yep.
So it was important. We shot it at 38. It's playing up a couple yards, right? False front. We need to land it at least the 40 number.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure.
Now we have different wedges in our bag,
Yeah.
right? We could have a gap wedge, a 56, a 60. Well, which club? Depends. Now, this one, you'll have no problem getting the ball up in the air because the ball's sitting up in the rough.
Yeah.
Most people are going to go with their 60 here. That's fine.
Yep.
But now it's how big of a swing.
Yeah.
So some people work on a clock system and they have to practice it, right? I'm going to go 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10:30, and the ball goes X distance.
Yep.
Right? That's a good way to start. I think as you become better, the feel becomes this word that's hard to define.
Yeah.
Like, should we be a little more wider? Should we be open with our stance? Should I? Depends.
Yeah.
Right? This is definitely not a long chip shot, for sure. You need a little bit bigger base to work with because this ball, it's going to kind of float on you because it's sitting up. This is going to be, is that your
60?
60, right?
Yep.
Plenty of loft on the club. You're probably going to have to get at least past hip height.
Yeah.
To get the job done. So to me, once we start getting past hip height, that stance has to be wider. The other decision you have to make is, do I start with square or would you feel more comfortable be slightly open? Because it's not a full swing, so having the left foot pulled back a little bit helps open up your left hip.
Yep.
That could make it easier. It could. Other people say, no, I want to be square because that helps me align. So this is where you have to experiment a little bit. Okay. What was your first instinct when you came to here and we shot the number of what you needed to do?
So what I have done in the past at 40 was just 60, about a little over halfway back.
Okay.
And then I always I haven't opened up on a full shot.
Okay, so we're talking width of stance is what you're asking me about, correct?
Yeah.
Like a chip, I could be very narrow and then a little wider, and then we're at full swing setup.
Yeah.
At a certain point. Okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I would be also just like this, like a actual full swing setup.
Which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
I think also because we're on a slight upslope, that helps with our stability. This is the thing with feel and reel. You could feel like you're going to here.
Yeah.
And then on camera, we're going to see it to here.
Yeah.
So that's where when you video yourself on the range and you're working on your 25, 35, 55 numbers, yardages, you're going to may think it's here and then you'll see yourself on video, it's here.
Yeah.
That's fine. You just have to understand what are you feeling to get that.
Yeah.
That's all. Okay. So I'm fine with what you're deciding on right now. Okay. I like the stance being a little bit more full swing than it is short game at this point.
Yeah.
And then we have a 60, which I'm fine with. Plenty of height on it. We have a soft green. Left is better than right.
Yeah.
And we still have that false front here that we have to make sure we have our number. Okay. So with the practice swing here, I want you to rehearse what really I'm asking is like a 42-yard shot. Okay. Because I want to take out the front and minimize that as much as possible. Hole high or beyond is our play. Okay. So now we've gone into choice of club, choice of setup. Now you're going to feel what you think is the proper length of swing. Okay, just watch it. So the ball went long.
Yeah, long.
When you took the whole swing, did you know already it was going to go too long? Or
for sure.
Okay, so at what point did you know? Is it because backswing was too long? Was it that you accelerated too much? Because I know the contact felt good. It might have felt like a rocket ship coming off there. But what are we going to change, though, on this one?
I'm going to go less back.
Less back, right?
Yeah, like big.
So smaller swing.
Small
Tempo is going to stay the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're going to commit to that. Little left. Now there's a little mechanical thing. You fell back on that one.
Yeah.
So
actually fell back on the first one a little bit too.
A little bit, yeah. The second one definitely you defaulted back in here, which causes some more of the pulls to the left.
Yeah.
We were on a slight upslope, weren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so feeling that security of being able to stay either centered, okay, or you still got to get a little bit into that left side on the follow through.
Yeah.
But you're going against gravity a little bit. On that last one, especially, you reverted back in here, which made it go low left on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's again on the range, flat mat or some flat grass. Certainly work on these clock drills, if you want to call it that, so you can feel what equals what.
Yep.
Now we're out here, the lie affected it, didn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
And we didn't adapt for the upslope. We got a little bit on our back foot. That caused the ball go left and long.
Yeah.
So now that's back to playing golf.
Yep.
What I want to keep on doing. So Jerome, we just played this par 5 up to this point. We hit a driver, a 5-iron, and now we hit a 40-yard shot to here. And I was mentioning a false front, right? It's nice to say I want to get on the green, but if we would have landed that ball here, okay, there's a chance that goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
Okay, especially if this was going to be cut even shorter. So this is really unusable. We had to get that's why I mentioned like 42 yards. I was adding a couple because I want to make sure we got to here. There's times that we take wedges and we spin them, right? So this was the safe spot to add a few yards. Here, might look at this pretty shot. It looks like it's close, and then it moves further and further away.
Yeah.
So part of course knowledge, and you play more, and you know, competitive players have yardage books, they've had practice rounds, they kind of know these type of things, but that's going to come into play on your decision making. Okay, so now we're here and we're going to putt, right? So routines are different with putting than they are other clubs. We know what club we're using, hopefully. Unless you've already broken it on number one. And now, you know, putting's interesting. Is speed is the most important element. Speed determines line. Now in your routine, you're trying to figure out what the line is. Okay. We'll get more into those nuances later. But right now, if you're going to go big picture on me, what kind of slope do you see on the screen?
Kind of goes like this.
That? Okay. Now, what did the ball do when I dropped it?
Went this way.
That way, right?
So it's kind of like...
We got some slope going to the right for sure.
For sure.
We look at big picture first, high point, low point. Then we zoom in here. You're seeing a lot of players, we talked about this before, a lot of players using their feet. They're walking putts. They're using more than their eyes to really gather information. Again, I'm not into slow play, so this doesn't have to take very long. But once you hit that wedge shot down there, you can already start to be aware of this green complex. High point, low point. You walk up here, you feel in your feet. You can gather a ton of information before you even mark your ball. Okay. So now that we're here, what are you looking at before you pick your target?
Usually what I would do in regards to figuring out how far left is I'll like figure out the slope with my feet, and then from what I felt in the past, I'll just be like, all right, this is like 2 balls, 3 balls, 4 balls, but it's kind of qualitative at this point. But that's right now.
Totally. We need to know the speed of the greens.
Yeah.
Now you did get to warm up a little bit on these greens earlier. I would probably classify them as medium speed or slow, right? So speed's going to determine also if they're very, very firm and crusty, they're going to break a lot more than these are probably running at like a 9 on the stimp. Pretty slow. Doesn't break quite as much. So those are those combinations that come into play here, okay?
Cool.
Okay, so observe it. We knew it was going left to right, correct? Now, speed, decent, right? Okay, but it broke off quick, didn't it? Okay, so let's make our adjustment. We're always learning. Make it adjust, learn. And notice the last third of the putt is where it breaks the most, right?
It breaks crazy.
Ball slows down, gravity takes it over, that slope takes it over. So sometimes we kind of bisect or even kind of move it in threes. Like the first part, it's going to accelerate, it's not going to break as much, plateaus, but then probably this last third is when it's going to break the most. So the awareness of slope here is even more important than where you're at there. Okay. Again, good speed, but you can see that part of green reading is hitting enough putts to understand these variables there. All right, Jerome. So we're on a par 3 here. And the lie, of course, is going to be fixed. You get to tee the ball up. This is a fairly flat tee box. That's not going to be as important as, of course, the other variables that we've talked about before. Okay. So when you look out here, we want to know the number. So what do we shoot this at?
162.
162. We would probably also want to know what the carry distance over that bunker is. Okay. So we now know what we call our minimum number is. Then we look at what we have: a front bunker, we have a left bunker, some light rough here. So that's kind of the overall, right? We have a little bit of breeze. We have a little breeze from right to left. We can see it in the trees. We can see it in the flagstick. Touch elevation up, but not much. So those are those variables that you're going to get intuition know quite quickly. Right now, I have to ask you those questions. So based on the variables we have here, what club you got?
7-iron.
7-iron.
Yep.
Okay, great. Now we have a club choice. Now, what's the intention of shot? Where do you want to start it? Where do you want the ball to finish?
I want to start it a little to the right of the pin. So if wind takes it, it's a little left, and it seems like that would be an uphill putt if I get it left of the pin.
Well, that's fine. And again, you're thinking in a very aggressive manner, which I
Yeah.
like. Look at this guy, uphill putts, all stuff. How about we hit the green? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that green, right? So what's the best shot for us to honestly hit the green, 2-putt, make par, right?
Yeah.
I like what you're thinking though, but we have to know what our ball flights are,
Yeah.
right? With a 7-iron, is there a normal ball flight for you? Is it fairly straight? A little draw bias to the left, a little fade?
Usually it's straight,
Okay.
but similarly, I think with the things that have been adding a little bit, it'll fade a little bit.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So again, I would say play accordingly. Play the pattern as much as we can.
Okay.
Okay? So we got all the information.
Yeah.
So we're going from thinking now to playing the game.
Okay.
This is creativity. This is visualization. This is practice swings. Let's get be an athlete now. Okay. Okay. Just observe it. So part of it observing, you obviously want to see where the ball finishes, but a lot of it's emotional composure too.
Yep.
Just watch it without reacting. Okay. I always ask you the mental game question first. Were you committed?
Yeah, I was committed.
Fantastic. Okay. So now what did the ball do though?
Went left.
Went left, so we know the club face is a little closed.
Yep.
It doesn't mean we have to dissect it to know exactly why, but sometimes we just want to be able to go, oh, that's what happened, we learn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You ready to hit a second ball?
Yep.
Okay. Do you feel 7-iron's the correct club?
Yes.
Awesome. So we know that that's a good decision. Did you feel like you were aimed correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, so setup was good.
Yep.
So we know that's a little bit more execution based, right? The club face got a little close.
Yeah.
So that's, when we look at cause and effect,
Mm-hmm.
I've, of course, am emphasizing that there is a mental component of cause and effect.
Yeah.
We want to go from that fear, anxiety to a flow, which I'm fully immersed in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like you were committed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Execution. Hey, we all need to work on our golf swings to make it have that dispersion rate a little bit tighter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just watching it. So start line was pretty much exactly where you were aiming. You were aimed right of the flag.
Yeah.
So your start line was fine. Now we had a contact issue, didn't we?
Yep.
So we hit
chunky.
a little bit behind it, a little chunky. Were you committed?
Yeah.
So in your routine, and I'm going to keep drilling this, what in your routine has to happen for you to be committed to a shot?
For me, it just needs to, well, my first swing, if it feels like that's what I want, I'm like at least 90%. And then when I come back here and I see the place where I'm going to hit, I just pick somewhere that's 2 feet.
Okay.
And then those two things, I'm like, okay, I'm committed.
Great. So that practice swing is important for you.
Yeah.
Right. To feel like you're rehearsing, it felt good. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's different. Some
Yeah.
people it's the visualization. I see it clearly. Some people it's, hey, I remember a 7-iron I just hit great 3 holes ago. But we want to be able to commit to it, which is confidence in your decision,
Mm-hmm.
confidence you can execute the decision.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're committed. Now we chunked a little bit. We certainly can talk about the cause and effects of hitting behind it. But out here on the golf course, I'm seeing, are we making proper decisions?
Yeah.
Are we committed to them?
Mm-hmm.
If we can check those boxes, awesome. Then we can look at, Rick, now that I've played enough, I can see my tendencies. That's when we work on range mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clean up the decision stuff out here. Commit.
Perfect.
All right, let's go get up and down.
Cool.
So we've now just hit on this par 3, and the first one we hit into the left.
Yeah.
The good news, it was the correct club. So we can look back and it was almost hole high, awesome. Put ourselves into a bunker,
Yeah.
okay? Now this is, bunkers are supposed to be necessarily challenging, right? Kind of, they're there that we don't want, but we've talked about some bunker play before. This one you have plenty of green to work with. The sand here is fine. There is some sand underneath. That's different.
Yeah.
A lot of the viewers out here may be on courses that it's rock hard. That's a whole different ball game, everybody. And we may not have the soft beach sand of the tour players, right?
Yeah.
This is somewhere in between. So know what you're getting into to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
We look at lip. Not a very high lip for where we're at.
Yeah.
Green runs away from us slightly at the start and then plateaus. So I'm still going to consider this a fundamentally basic bunker shot.
Yep.
We're going to look at, is that flat there or is it slightly downslope? So we'll take a peek at that in a moment. What club you got?
60 degree.
Yeah, I like 60. I think it helps us be a little bit more aggressive with this.
Do you usually ever hit something not a 60 on a
Sure.
sand? Okay.
Yeah, if I took you another, let's say 15 yards away, I think we're now looking at like a 56.
Mm-hmm.
If we try to hit a 62 hard, Sometimes people either hit way behind it or they thin it a little bit.
Okay.
Let the loft kind of do some of the work for you. And there's something called bounce on the bottom of the club that is going to affect how the club comes into the ground and exits. Usually, a 56 degree has more bounce on it than the 60. Yet, with the 60, we tend to open it up, which creates more bounce of how that comes in. So I think here we've got, we've got enough sand.
Yeah.
We can feel that once we dig our feet in. Ball sitting up fine. And we talked a little bit, one of our other sessions, about basic setup. I like the feet to be slightly open. I like the ball position forward. I like the weight forward because we're not hitting the ball.
Yeah.
We're hitting a couple inches behind it. It's one of the few shots in golf we don't hit the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So any questions here before you execute?
So on this down, it's kind of leaning this way already, a little bit.
Touch, right?
A touch. And so would that change my position at address a little bit?
Slightly. Yeah, I mean, I think we have a slight one. This is a little bit this way, which makes the ball go a touch lower. The good news here, we don't have a high lip in front of us. If this was super high, we may have to open up more. We have to do this. I don't think we have to do a ton different here.
Okay.
You may feel a touch even more weight on that left foot.
Yeah.
To feel like you're working down that slope. Okay.
Yep.
Now, we're not allowed to take full practice swings here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we have to kind of feel the shot. Some people take practice swings outside. Some people do a practice swing to the side where they're not hitting the ball. They're just hovering the club above the sand.
Yep.
Just to get a feel for it.
Yep.
Okay. So we got it out. Floating down there. Okay. So now anything we learned from that one?
Yeah, I need to have a bigger back swing.
Good. You got another one on you?
Yep.
We did some good things there, right? We have plenty of sand behind it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we can either take less sand or take a bigger swing, is what you said you were going to feel now, right? Okay. Ball started on a good line. Yeah, if we can get this ball another 10 feet on the green and let it roll from there, I think we'd be in good shape.
Yeah.
But you were stable on that, which is what I liked. Okay, so now weight went a little bit to your back.
Yep, exactly.
Notice the change of entry point.
Farther.
So we had this, and then the second one was here.
Yep.
And that was all based on
going back.
kind of the weight.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
that way, right? Okay.
Quick question here. When I go forward, am I similar to my other shots? My head shouldn't be going. Yeah.
Let's start left, stay left. There's no transferring.
Yeah.
Let's lock in at, let's say, 60% of our weight there and keep it there.
Okay.
We're on an unstable surface, so if you start moving around, this is going to change.
Gotcha.
So I'm stable. Stable becomes more of an arm swing than it is a transfer.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
That makes sense. And then I think I mentioned this in the previous one. Would you say your hands are a little more firm, or is it kind of a...
If this ball was sitting down like a fried egg, it's probably a little firmer because the club. I want to make sure that I can hinge the wrists enough, so I don't want to be too tight on this. Because I want to be able to set the club. If I hold on too tight, I'm not going to get that nice set and that nice thump, right? We want to kind of go up, down, through, and setting it is going to be important. So I'd be hesitant to say I hold on tighter.
Okay.
Unless this ball was just plugged. I mean, yes, you're hitting the sand, but it's not going to slow you down that much.
Gotcha. And you are hinging this.
Correct.
Versus like just bringing it back.
Correct. I think it's important to feel like the club goes more up on these than around. Okay, good job.
Okay, that makes way more sense. I've been always trying to do like more of a round shot.
It's gonna change because one, the angle of attack needs to be a little bit more abrupt. If it comes in here, we're either too shallow or we have to flip the hands at the last moment. So it's an up, down, through, almost like a V in a way.
Okay.
For this type of sand.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you're on firm stuff that has no sand, it's like a chip shot in a way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the softer the sand, I think we need to have more bounce in the club to glide through, and it tends to be more setting of the wrist back and through.
Yeah, that felt way more natural. And so another question maybe relevant to this is for chipping. You know how I have a little bit of open address? It gets a little in here. Should it be coming out?
Try to match body a little bit, right? So if I'm a little open,
match body, okay.
Have the path a little bit more that way to match it. If you're right, if I'm open and I get the club behind me, I'm more likely to be stuck.
Yeah, I got stuck.
Then I'm either going to heel it to the right or I'm going to have to use my hands to manipulate it left.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So I just match my body line. My face is a little bit open with the chipping, and I just match body lines to keep the club in front of me a little bit more.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect.
Okay,
Cool.
awesome.
So yeah, another question, kind of relevant to maybe the sand, but now here with chipping. When I was playing the other day, I wasn't getting too much success, but by just going completely horizontal. I was wondering if it's more of a horizontal, more up, similar to that, the hinging over there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I think what we're looking at is there's different methods. Like great player like Steve Stricker would have his hands very neutral, club would seem very shallow, and it would definitely be just kind of this triangle moving back and forth.
Yeah.
Then there's another method called hinge and hold, which is I'm going to hinge the club a little bit, and then yet I'm going to still turn with my body to do it. So it's not hinge, unhinge.
Yeah.
Okay. It would be hinge and then let the body move through.
Yep.
The other method is even more advanced in that if I hinge and then I allow myself a little bit of a release with my right hand underneath it, that's a different release position depending on the shot of the lie and the grass, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So think in terms that your hands and how they release the club could affect ball flight, right? So if I go the low method, which is, you said horizontal, I would just say kind of a hands very quiet method, right? I let my body do the work. I can still hit a crisp shot, but I'm limited how far that's going to go because I get to a certain point, I can't go anymore.
Yep.
The method I would probably go more with is the hinge hold method, which is there's going to be a little bit of a set, then I come through on that. So I'm hinging it a little bit. I'm still using my body coming through. The last one, which is more advanced, is I'm going to allow the hinge, and then I'm going to unhinge a little bit to where it feels like the club is coming under a little bit more. You can see it added loft, just not the same oomph to it, right?
Exactly.
A lot of these release positions will be affected by the quality of the grass we're on.
Yeah.
This is fine. It's spongy kikuya. It's up there. If we're on a very tight Bermuda into the grain, you would probably have to almost go with the third option, actually. We don't want the club to dig the leading edge. We want it to kind of slide through. So how you use the hands is going to affect how that club comes in here.
Okay.
Not only does it change lofts, but just the quality of the contact.
Okay.
So I'm going to encourage you to be more the hinge and hold method as you go through. You certainly can use different clubs if you want to hit it lower, hit the pitching wedge, those type of things. But right now, overall, I'd like to see there's a little bit of a hinge and then it stays that same angle coming through.
Okay. And then 2 questions in regards to address. Like, I know we kind of talked about distance with how close am I to the ball?
So we said full swing with an iron, we're going to be approximately here. Probably going to be even half of that now with chipping. It's okay to be closer, right?
Okay.
I could be taller, I can be closer to it. We obviously don't want to get way close to where we're jammed.
Yeah.
But I would say we're not the same distance we are with a full swing.
Okay.
We're a little bit closer.
Cool. And then I know we're not in the lie here, but this was the problem I was having at the other course where it's like really rough, and I can't even like get back at all.
Yeah.
Is that like now you go?
Yeah, exactly. So if we just step you back just a couple feet here, and I know this is not super long, but let's say that ball is now sitting down a little bit more.
Yep.
I would definitely encourage more weight on the left.
Yeah.
A little bit more hinge early, which gets a little bit steeper. Now this is not that dramatic.
Yeah.
But just for everybody is that the more this ball sits down in longer rough, the more I'm going to have to get more abrupt with this.
I see.
Okay, so the angle of attack goes this way. If I keep it too horizontal, too long, I have a lot of grass to go through. But if I can go here to here, I have less grass to go with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so
I got caught in that grass for like 4 strokes. Okay.
You didn't use the hand wedge we talked about? Just pick it up and throw it?
Yeah, no, it's unfortunately not. Okay, so this is a hinge and hold.
Yeah, we're going to allow some softness. I like it more like soft hands back and then keep that same angle coming through.
Okay.
Nice. Very crisp, right?
Yeah, that was really good.
And so there's some of it will change timing a little bit, but again, it's the softness of the hands. We were talking about this earlier about a lot of golf, but especially short game. Think of it more like an artist with a brush.
Yeah.
A paintbrush is like, we're not like this, right? Soft. There's a softness about it, the feel of that. And I think the hinge and hold allows us to feel the face. the club head a little bit more instead of being super tight with everything. So it'll change timing a little bit, but I think you're going to have crisper contact coming through it.
Okay.
Let's go.